who's actually going to get the most out of a tiny wine fridge, and who should just keep their bottles on the kitchen counter. Is it worth shelling out for a unit that promises energy saving and a wood finish when you're living in a dorm or a cramped city apartment? And, for the everyday wine lover who just wants a place to keep a couple of bottles at the right temperature, does the price make sense? Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. Let's start with the hesitation most of us feel before clicking Add to Cart. A mini wine cooler sounds perfect on paper, quiet, compact, and stylish, but the reality of daily use can be a different story. You might picture yourself sliding a bottle out for a dinner party, hearing nothing but a soft hum, and feeling good about saving a few watts. Or you could end up with a fridge that can't hold the bottle shape you prefer, or a temperature that drifts when the room gets hot. Those are the kind of trade-offs that turn a nice idea into a disappointment. The energy-saving mini wine fridge tries to hit a sweet spot for people who don't have a dedicated wine cellar but still want a bit of control over their stash. The all-wood exterior gives it a warm, almost cabinet-like feel, which blends nicely into a bedroom nightstand or a home bar shelf. Inside, the unit relies on a digital temperature controller that lets you set the cooling point within the range most reds and whites need. The manufacturer claims whisper-quiet operation, and the advanced compressor does indeed stay low enough that you can set it next to a TV without noticing a buzz. So who should buy it? If you're a student or a young professional living in a studio, the compact footprint is a real win. The fridge measures just enough to sit on a countertop or a small shelf, and the wood finish means you don't have to hide it behind a bland appliance. It also works well for people who only collect a handful of bottles, maybe a favorite Cabernet, a bottle of sparkling for celebrations, and a couple of whites for cooking. The triple-layered U-shielding door is a thoughtful addition. It blocks the kind of light that can age wine prematurely, which matters even if you only have a few bottles. For a small home bar that wants to look a bit upscale without the cost of a full-size cooler, this unit delivers the aesthetic and the basic temperature control. Now, who should skip it? If you're serious about aging wine for several years, the limited capacity and modest temperature swing could be a problem. The fridge holds roughly a dozen standard 750 milliliters bottles, and the interior geometry favors regular-shaped bottles. Larger formats, magnums, champagne buckets, or oddly shaped bottles might not fit without a tight squeeze. Also, the digital thermostat, while convenient, isn't calibrated for the kind of precise temperature bands that serious collectors demand. A few degrees off can affect how a delicate white matures, and the unit doesn't give you the fine-tuning that higher-end models provide. Finally, if you're looking for a massive energy saving compared to a regular mini fridge, the claim is more about the insulated door and low-wattage compressor than a dramatic drop in your electricity bill. Let's walk through a couple of real-world scenarios. Imagine you've just moved into a downtown loft, and the landlord won't allow you to install a full-size wine cellar. You have a modest collection of 5 bottles you'd like to keep at a consistent 55F. You place the mini fridge on a narrow kitchen shelf, plug it in, and set the temperature. Within a few hours the internal reading stabilizes, and the unit runs so quietly you barely notice it. The wood finish matches the exposed brick, and the UV-shielded door ensures that the morning sunlight streaming through the floor-to-ceiling windows doesn't degrade the wine. Over a month you notice no temperature spikes, and your bottles stay ready for the occasional dinner guest. In this context, the fridge delivers exactly what you need: compact storage, visual appeal, and a low-noise operation that doesn't disrupt conversation. Contrast that with a different use case: a budding collector who wants to buy a case of assorted reds and whites and experiment with cellaring them for a few years. The same fridge can only hold about a dozen bottles, so you quickly run out of space and have to store the rest in the regular fridge, defeating the purpose of buying a dedicated cooler. Moreover, as the ambient temperature in the apartment rises during summer, you notice the internal temperature creeping a degree or two higher than the set point. The digital controller doesn't offer a hold function or the ability to set separate zones for reds versus whites, meaning you're forced to compromise on optimal storage conditions. For this collector, the mini fridge becomes more of a convenience piece than a true aging solution. Beyond capacity, there are a couple of practical quirks worth mentioning. The interior lighting is a soft LED that turns on when you open the door, which is handy for low light settings,